the United Kingdom has long been a preferred destination for Indian students, skilled workers, and families seeking better opportunities. However, the immigration landscape in 2025 is changing significantly, making it more challenging for Indians to study, work, and settle in the UK. With growing concerns over rising immigration levels, the UK government has introduced several restrictive policies that directly impact Indian nationals. From tightening post-study work visa requirements to banning dependents for most students, these new measures are expected to significantly reduce the number of Indian immigrants in the UK. At the same time, the government has increased enforcement actions against illegal migration and made it harder for businesses to hire skilled workers from outside the UK. These changes are in line with the UK's broader strategy to lower net migration, which had reached a record high of 728,000 per year. For many Indian students and professionals, these restrictions mean fewer opportunities and greater uncertainty. While some schemes like the UK India Young Professionals Scheme remain available, they cater to only a limited number of people. The UK is no longer as accessible as it once was, and this shift may push Indian migrants to seek alternative destinations like Canada, Australia, and Germany. In this video, we'll break down these new rules, how they affect Indians, and what the future of UK immigration looks like. 1. Stricter post-study work rules. One of the biggest changes in 2025 is the tightening of post-study work visa requirements. Previously, Indian students graduating from UK universities could stay for up to 2 years under the graduate route visa, even if they took non-graduate level jobs. However, under the new rules, students must now secure a graduate level job within the visa's validity period or leave the country. This is a significant shift, as many students previously used the 2-year period to gain work experience and transition into permanent employment. Now, the UK government aims to reduce migration by ensuring that only highly skilled professionals stay in the country. The problem is that securing a graduate-level job within the given time frame is not easy, especially with increasing competition and fewer employers willing to sponsor visas. As a result, many Indian students may struggle to find jobs, forcing them to leave the UK after graduation. This policy change is expected to reduce the number of Indian students choosing the UK for higher education, as many will look for alternative destinations with better post-study work options, such as Canada, Australia, or Germany. Additionally, this restriction may also impact UK universities, as international students, particularly from India, bring in billions of pounds in tuition fees annually. If fewer Indian students choose to study in the UK, universities could face financial challenges. Overall, while the UK government claims this move is necessary to control immigration, it significantly affects Indian students' ability to build their careers in the UK. 2. Restrictions on dependents. Another major policy shift in 2025 is the restriction on bringing dependents to the UK. Under the new rule, most international students are no longer allowed to bring their spouses, children, or other family members unless they are enrolled in a postgraduate research program. Previously, Indian students made up a significant proportion of dependent visa holders, with thousands of spouses and children accompanying them to the UK. The UK government argues that limiting dependent visas is necessary to reduce immigration and prevent abuse of the student visa system. However, for many Indian students, this restriction is a huge setback. Studying abroad is a major life decision, and many students prefer to have their families with them for emotional and financial support. Without this option, some may reconsider their choice of studying in the UK altogether. The impact of this policy is already evident, as there has been an 84% drop in dependent visa applications since the restrictions were introduced. Additionally, the ban on dependents could also affect universities, as many international students choose destinations based on family friendliness. Countries like Canada and Australia, which still allow dependents, might see an increase in Indian student enrollments as a result. The UK's goal is to cut net migration numbers, but this policy may backfire by making British universities less attractive to international students, ultimately reducing the financial contributions they make to the education sector. 3. Electronic Travel Authorization, ETA. In addition to visa restrictions, the UK is introducing a new travel requirement called the Electronic Travel Authorization, ETA, in April 2025. Under this rule, travelers from many countries, including those in Europe, the Middle East, and Asia, must apply for an ETA before entering the UK. However, Indian nationals are not eligible for this new system and must continue to apply for a standard visa if they wish to visit the UK. This means that while citizens from several other countries will benefit from a streamlined travel process, Indians will still face lengthy visa procedures, high fees, and extensive documentation requirements. The UK's decision to exclude India from the ETA system is seen as unfair by many, considering the strong diplomatic and economic ties between the two countries. This rule makes it more difficult for Indian tourists, business travelers, and family visitors to enter the UK compared to travelers from other nations. Many Indians may now reconsider visiting the UK and instead choose alternative travel destinations where visa processes are easier and more affordable. 4. Young Professionals Scheme. Despite the tightening of immigration rules, one program that remains available to Indian nationals is the UK India Young Professionals Scheme. Launched in February 2023, this scheme allows 3,000 Indian nationals aged 18 to 30 to live and work in the UK for up to 2 years. The program is based on a lottery system, meaning that only a small percentage of applicants will actually get the opportunity. While this scheme is beneficial for those who qualify, it does not lead to permanent residency or a long-term work visa, which means that participants will eventually have to return to India. The limited number of spots also makes this program highly competitive, leaving thousands of applicants without an opportunity. For young Indian professionals looking to build a career in the UK, this scheme is a temporary solution rather than a pathway to long-term settlement. In contrast, countries like Canada and Australia offer more accessible work visas with clearer paths to permanent residency. 5. Skilled worker visa challenges. Another major change affecting Indian nationals is the tightening of skilled worker visa rules. The UK government has introduced stricter enforcement measures, making it harder for employers to sponsor visas for international workers. New policies prohibit employers from passing sponsorship costs onto employees, meaning companies now bear the full financial burden of hiring foreign workers. Additionally, the UK has stepped up enforcement actions against illegal workers, conducting over 5,000 raids and making nearly 4,000 arrests since mid-2024. These changes mean that fewer companies will be willing to hire Indian IT professionals, engineers, healthcare workers, and other skilled professionals due to the increased costs and risks involved. For many Indian workers, this means fewer job opportunities in the UK, pushing them to seek employment in other countries with more favorable immigration policies, such as Germany, Canada, and Australia. 6. Higher salary threshold for work visas. One of the most significant changes affecting Indians in 2025 is the increase in the salary threshold for the skilled worker visa. Previously, foreign workers needed a minimum annual salary of £26,500 to qualify for a UK work visa. However, under the new rules, this threshold has been raised to £38,700, making it much harder for Indian professionals to secure a work visa. This change disproportionately affects mid-level professionals and fresh graduates, particularly in fields like IT, healthcare, and finance, where starting salaries often fall below this limit. While the UK government argues that this increase will prioritize hiring local workers, it has also led to a significant reduction in job opportunities for Indians. Many UK businesses, especially in sectors facing labor shortages, have criticized this move, as they now struggle to hire qualified workers from outside the UK. For Indian professionals who used to consider the UK a prime destination for career growth, this new rule creates a major barrier to entry, making countries like Germany, Canada, and Australia more attractive options for skilled migration. 7. Tougher rules for family visas. In 2025, the UK has also introduced tougher restrictions on family visas, making it harder for Indian immigrants to bring their spouses, children, or elderly parents to the UK. Previously, a UK citizen or work visa holder needed to earn a minimum of £18,600 per year to sponsor their spouse for a visa. However, under the new rules, this income threshold has been raised to £29,000 in 2025, with further increases planned for the future. This sudden increase means that many Indians who were previously eligible to sponsor their family members no longer qualify. Additionally, dependent visas have become more difficult to obtain, with stricter scrutiny and longer processing times. The UK government claims these changes are necessary to reduce family-based migration, but for many Indians living in the UK, it creates emotional and financial hardships by keeping families apart. Countries like Canada and Australia, which offer more family-friendly immigration policies, are now becoming preferred destinations for Indian migrants who want to stay close to their loved ones. 8. Crackdown on asylum seekers and illegal migrants. Another major shift in the UK's immigration policy is its crackdown on asylum seekers and illegal migrants, which also affects some Indian nationals. The UK government has increased immigration raids, detentions, and deportations, targeting individuals who overstay their visas or enter the country illegally. In 2025 alone, over 12,000 undocumented migrants were removed from the UK, marking a 50% increase compared to previous years. The government has also introduced harsher penalties for those caught working illegally, including deportation bans and lifetime entry restrictions. While most Indian immigrants enter the UK through legal routes, these stricter enforcement policies create a climate of fear for those whose visas are set to expire or who face unexpected legal issues. Many Indian students and workers who struggle to extend their visas now face higher risks of being forced to leave the country. At the same time, the UK's asylum policies have become more restrictive, making it nearly impossible for individuals from conflict-ridden or politically unstable regions of India to seek refuge. 9. Increasing visa fees and immigration surcharges. Another major burden on Indian migrants is the sharp increase in UK visa fees and immigration health surcharges, IHS, in 2025. The skilled worker visa fee has been raised by 15%, while student visa fees have increased by 35% compared to previous years. Additionally, the immigration health surcharge, which is mandatory for all foreign nationals using the NHS, has risen to £1,035 per year, a 66% increase from previous rates. For a family of 3 applying for a 5-year visa, these costs now exceed £15,000 upfront, making UK migration unaffordable for many Indians. These rising costs are pushing Indian professionals and students toward more budget-friendly destinations, such as Canada and Germany, where visa fees are lower, and healthcare is either free or heavily subsidized. Many critics argue that these financial barriers are simply another way for the UK government to reduce migration without an outright ban, further discouraging skilled Indian workers and students from considering the UK as an option.